Good afternoon and welcome to the program Midday Discourse, coming your way live and direct from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. And of course, we are taking the look at recent comments from the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, WIKE'S, asking Abuja, giving them a mandate of 1 month to reposition as far as housing issues are concerned in the Federal Capital Territory. That marching order to reposition the housing sectors in the Federal Capital Territory was made possible by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in which he inaugurated a committee, mandated them with 1 month period to ensure that housing issue, estates and so on in the Federal Capital Territory are repositioned to meet the desire of the master plan of the Federal Capital Territory. And with me here today is a resident of Nigerian City, talking about Mr. Joe Oko with us. We'll be looking at this marching order and the expectation from residents of Abuja and what we expect from staff of the Federal Capital Territory who have been given a marching order to reposition agreement in terms of housing. And to put it straight, this marching order was made possible by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. When we take a break, when we come back, we'll be looking at issues concerning and how to reposition housing in Nigeria #1 city. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go straight. My guest is already seated here with me in the studio, and we'll be looking at the rules and regulations of this marching order. Please don't go away. Welcome to the program, Insight Midday. Glad to have you back on the program. Midday Discourse from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. We are looking at housing issue in Nigerian capital city. Of course, we are fully aware that there are a lot of housing issues in the Federal Capital Territory, and to put them right and ensure that Abuja is free from crisis related to housing, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory set up a committee to look into and reposition to ensure that both residents of the Federal Capital Territory and government officials are proud of what Abuja is all about. The Honorable Minister has set up a committee with a period of 1 month to reposition this. These, of course, are some of the expectations in the Federal Capital Territory. And one man who is a resident of Abuja is, of course, Mr. Joe Oko, is my guest on the program today, and we will be looking at the period given to this committee. First, we need to commend the Federal Capital Territory Administration for finding a lasting solution to the housing problem, especially issues that relate to the demolition, which has always been the song. On his first day of office as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, WIKE'S made it known that he will be embarking on demolition, especially houses and structures that fail to meet up with the required procedures of having such structures or houses in the Federal Capital Territory. Barely some few days ago, he inaugurated a committee to find a lasting solution. Mr. Joe, you are a resident of the Federal Capital Territory. Let's look at this comment from the minister and the committee. Do you think this is a welcome committee?
Thank you very much for having me, and good day to viewers out there. I feel the first step is the right step is a good step that the minister have taken, but there's a lot that needs to be done to be able to bring sanity to the housing issues and problems in the Federal Capital Territory. But we'll have to commend his steps. We like the way he has returned back from his former stand of direct demolition into listening to the cry of the people and setting up a committee. So I feel that is a right step in the right direction.
The minister said the committee has 1 month. I'm looking at the period. Is 1 month okay to wipe all this, to reposition the FCT in housing? 1 month?
That is not possible. I feel so. I feel that won't be possible. 1 month is too short for us to try to rectify all issues, especially the decay of the past. I feel it's the right steps, but 1 month is not actually feasible for them to be able to get that done.
Okay, let's look at it. Where did we get it wrong? Is it the residents of the Federal Capital Territory or those responsible with the administration of FCT, talking about the development control, the ages, the housing, urban development? Where did we actually get it wrong in Abuja?
I feel it's a double-edged sword. Both the residents and the development control agencies responsible for housing have all failed. What I mean with all failed is that residents take law sometime into their hands, and also the agencies are also sometimes being compromised. So I feel it's a work in progress. All of us have to put our acts together and see how we can get it right.
Many argue that some residents even have documents duly signed by the authority, and so they could argue that they have followed the real steps in acquiring some of this land. Now the question is, who got it wrong?
Well, I feel if you go back, you discover that some residents will tell you that, okay, they've gotten this document genuinely. But if you dig deeper than that, you discover that we are all guilty of it, because some feel they've gotten it right, but then if you dig, you will know that it wasn't theirs, or it's all fudge. So residents tell you, especially those who are within or who have lived there for a while, to tell you that, okay, they've gotten this from a particular name and a particular set of people, but in the real sense, they didn't. I'm also saying that those who are the agencies responsible have also failed, because there are double allocation, or some have just been sold to friends, family members, and resell to friends, family members continuously. So in that regard, I feel we've all failed. And now that the committee has been set, I believe that this committee will stand above bad and will be able to follow the rules and be able to do what is right for all Nigerians.
Yinsin Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in inaugurating the committee in his office, he did say those who got their lands or papers from the traditional rulers can as well come forward and make some payment. I consider that trying to give some sense of belonging, asking those who actually got, because in the past it was a crime and it was not accepted for you to acquire this land from the traditional rulers. But now, if you have already, so all you need to do is to come forward and get this document documented officially for government. That looks like some signs of, firstly, for residents of Abuja and the ministry.
I strongly believe that it's a sign of relief to a lot of people out there, because come to think of it, Abuja is actually, why will I put it now? I would say Abuja belongs to a particular tribe, and by virtue of being made the federal capital territory has been taken over. I strongly believe that making it possible for those who've gotten it from traditional rulers and those who owned it because it's their bed land, will be able to stand tall and feel comfortable that the government is taking the right direction of putting them in their plans. It's the government of inclusion. That is what I feel they're trying to do. And I know that it still have a lot to do out there with regards to other difficulties that people are facing. But with regards to this housing issue, I think making the indigenous or making traditional rulers have a say or possess what was rightly theirs is a right step. And that, I will add that will also bring little bit of succor to a lot of people. What I mean is you will be able to make people feel comfortable, and then maybe it will also reduce crime and other social vices out there.
Housing in the Federal Capital Territory, it's the topic we are looking at this afternoon right here on Global TV Abuja. We are doing an extract from the comment from the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, mandating his committee with the right and obligation of ensuring that housing issue in the Federal Capital Territory is put to rest. But we know that there are many housing agency or bodies responsible for this. The minister has mandated the committee to do everything possible and have all this housing, giving them the right document, and also those who got their properties from the unauthorized bodies, like perhaps the local indigenous, should come forward and get their houses or projects documented. Many are of the opinion that the period given for such an important exercise, 1 month, looked very, very small. But in his conclusion, the Honorable Minister said there could be reason for extension. But we are looking that if 1 month is the full period officially given, will it be additional 1 month or less than that? Because 1 month to some residents of the Federal Capital is quite small. But let's look at the issue of estate in Abuja. It appears everyone is operating an agency that does provision of housing.
Thank you very much. I feel that is very serious issues that we need to tackle. First and foremost, I must also commend Honorable Minister for taking the bold step, because it has been an issue in the past, and I'm not sure, except my memory has failed me, that we've had a minister coming up to say, okay, this is enough, let us get it right, let us just draw the line. And I think that is what he has just done. And you were talking about the 1 month, which I said earlier, that I feel the first step is just to get that done. Subsequently, I think there will be an extension. All right, come back to this issue just raised now. The regulating bodies, is it the AMAC or the FCDA, have a lot in their hands. They need to do more, because I don't understand exactly what the yardstick or the criteria meant for people to go into this. I know that private businesses and government partner together to make a particular society grow, which is a welcoming development, which we talk about the private-public partnership. Coming to do with this, there has been loopholes here and there that people just get up, pick plots of land, and do whatever they want. And you narrow it down to a situation whereby it also has to do with this godfatherism or issue of the one I know, the people I know. And with regard to that, people are taking a lot of things into their hands. So, but with this committee being set up, I pray and I wish that they will live above board and they will be able to handle the issue holistically as it should be, and make sure that everybody has a sense of belonging and is treated fairly.
treated fairly is the word right here in Abuja. Let's get some extract from what the Honorable Minister said. The Minister lamented that many residents area and many residential area in the Federal Capital Territory have been turned to commercial areas, and many commercial areas have been turned to residential, and that they must all face the word penalty. We can specifically use the word penalty. What type of penalty do we expect from a man who says demolition is his first point of duty on day number one?
Well, that would be demolition for sure. But just to add to that, I feel if you go around the city, people are in pains and people complain bitterly for the fact that you see residential areas where schools are built or hospitals and stuff like that. Abuja should be a correction from our past. Other cities that are not properly developed, we feel that Abuja should be a better place. Having said that, since he has given the team mandate to get it right, those who have places like that or hospital bills in areas that are not supposed to be our schools, I feel they will have no reason to feel bad. I feel that they must have known the side effect or what will come after or when they got that or purchased those locations. As I said earlier, it has to do with godfatherism and people you know. So based on that, certain areas are being given to those they believe they know or that they are related to, or those who can pay the highest bidder, and anything is turned into anything you want. So to make Abuja safe and to make it a place, a federal capital as it should be, I feel is the right step in the right direction. Thank you.
The right step in the right direction. Let's still take from the minister's pronouncement on that inauguration ceremony. The only way people can be won is to ensure that they are discouraged totally and make sure that if they want to build, they have to pay a penalty to proceed. And that is the penalty. That's to say, for every building that is already existing, and if you want to convert it or recertify such document, you must pay penalty. WIKE seems to not, he's not talking about demolition now, he's talking about fine. And that seems to be a little bit okay for residents of Abuja, because you have the option of paying fine for converting a property that was initially meant for a commercial purpose to residential, and residential to commercial. You have a penalty to pay. WIKE is a man who has a soft heart for Abuja.
Yeah, that is a good step, but what actually happens to the master plan? That is the question we should all ask. If the master plan was that this particular thing should be done, those who have the money can do anything and actually pay the fine. So what is right is right. That is my opinion, though. Because I feel that if you have, where we have green areas and it's being turned into private homes or schools, public institutions, you have actually disfigured the city. So that is what he wants to do. So we cannot question him on that. But my opinion is, we feel we should have a stiffer penalty than just paying fine, because with that it will encourage those who have so much money to do anything they want and go scot-free.
Federal Capital Territory Minister, of course, the minister said Abuja must go back to its original master plan. If there is a need to have some amendment, it is the responsibility of the government and not the responsibility of estate owners. That's a word for every Nigerian.
Yes, I strongly believe that he's making it clear, making all of us to understand where he's coming from and where he is going. He's definitely trying to put everything that has happened in the past in the right direction now. It's good news to all residents. It's good news to Abuja residents. That is good news to our citizens, and it's good news to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The minister did not even spare his own. The FCT minister also blamed agencies under the FCT administration in charge of land administration, of course, saying they didn't do a good job. And of course, we're talking about the AGs, the Development Control, and of course, the Land Department of the Federal Capital Territory. The minister is also saying they need to be up and doing.
I believe that is also very good, because most of the problem that's happened in the past was being as a result of a few compromise here and there. I'm not saying that all of them are, but a lot has happened in the past that we discover that so many things needs to be changed. When it has to do with the good people who are working tirelessly to make sure that the FCT is in good position, we thank them and we encourage them to continue. And those who have been hiding behind the shadows to make things difficult, they know there's no hiding place for them thereafter. Abuja
must go back to its original master plan. A choice words of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, of course, on the program Housing in FCT and the program Midday Discourse from Global TV Abuja. Let's take a break. When we come back, and there is more into the committee set by the Honorable Minister to reposition housing in Nigeria's capital city. Let's take a break. When we come back, there will be more. Please don't go away. Housing in Nigeria's capital city as the topic this afternoon right here in Abuja. And we are on the program Midday Discourse, taking a look at how to have a lasting solution to the housing issue. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory set up a committee, and the committee has just 1 month to report back to his office. Choice word of the minister: you must be diligent. Of course, you know, I will personally monitor what you are doing, and the assignment will not be less than 1 month. I want us to look at the word, I will personally monitor. WIKE is a man that has been known. He's not a no-nonsense man, and he says he will personally monitor. You think WIKE will have time to do this monitoring?
I strongly believe, based on his past record, that the Honorable Minister will go extra mile to make sure that this is done, because he wants to do what he is known to do. He is known to deliver, so he wants also to deliver. So he will go extra mile. He will create time, no matter how tight his schedules are. He will create time and make sure that the people go all extra out there to get things done.
WIKE also said, those of you who were part of this, in fact, he personally mentioned some certain agencies and said they must be part of this task force because they were the one that created the issue, so they should be part of them that finding a lasting solution. WIKE deserves some recommendation for taking such steps to reposition Abuja.
I agree with you completely, but if you, as he rightly pointed out, those who caused a particular problem are easier. You find it easier for them to solve those problems. So they know where the loopholes are. They know exactly what has gone wrong. So for him to making such statement, he must have been properly briefed, and that is a good step.
The task force chairman is Mike Chinda, the minister's senior aide on lands, urban and regional planning, and has Shehu Ahmed, the executive secretary of the Federal Capital Territory Development, as the secretary for this committee, as we speak, it is expected that it's over 3 days today, so the committee should have entered 3 days into the assignment. Minister made it clear that he was going to give them all the support. I want us to underline the word all the support needed for this committee to succeed. Now, Joe, let's come back. You are a resident of the Federal Capital Territory. You have perhaps seen the process of obtaining land document. It looks like it's one of the biggest business in Abuja, land business.
I agree with you. Land is the end thing here. I feel after oil, I think the most lucrative business in Nigeria now is land. Those who have no knowledge of what it takes, they are all in it, and then they are not even bothered. They give you whatever you get. A lot of people have been victims, and a lot will still be victims if the right steps is not taken. So I agree with the Honorable Minister for taking the right step and making sure that this will never happen again, or the people who have suffered land issues in the past will not experience it again. Come to think about the 1 month ultimatum that he gave, I want to add, and I want to solicit or plead to the Honorable Minister to look into it and to see if you could have an extension, because 1 month is feasible, is not feasible, but is doable. To some extent they can go far, but they won't be able to complete the task if he wants to actually eradicate all the ills of the past. So
complain.
well, I know they have not complained yet, but as a resident, I know exactly what has happened. I know what is happening. We are the ears of the people out there. We know exactly how people have complained, and the complaint is enormous. So if everybody comes with his or her own complaint, the members of this committee will find it really tough. And then that's why I'm saying that 1 month looks basically too little.
Okay, Joe, let's just have it that despite the growing demand for housing, many people are unable to afford to pay or rent property in the Federal Capital Territory. And administrations have come and gone in FCT with the same objective of making housing available both for its citizens and, of course, workers of the Federal Capital Territory. But yet, this is a far-reaching point. What should we do? Is it the government or the private sector? At what point should we have a meeting point for these two bodies to make housing a household?
I would say that housing issue, especially in Federal Capital Territories, almost in most part of the world, is a problem. There are the congestion comes in because of the inflow of people coming into the capital territories, and then or the cities, and then also the planning issue. I think we've not done the planning issue very well in the past. If WIKE has taken the Honorable Minister, WIKE has taken the right step to get this done. If he gets this right, he's writing his name in the book of history. But if he did not, government will definitely continue, and then we'll keep pushing. But one thing that is certain is that the private sector has to do more. You know, the propelling engine for any development or growth in any in recent time is the private sector. So if the private sector has a partnership with the government, they will be able to provide affordable accommodations to residents of that particular city. So I am calling on well-meaningful Nigerians who have the means and who are passionate about helping to also come in. I know it's not all about a charitable organization. It fish a little money out of it, but we should not be focusing on the profit at the moment. We should also think of why people who are working there needs to have a place to put their head on.
They need to have a place to put their head on, and perhaps that's exactly what the minister is talking about, because one major crisis in the Federal Capital Territory is the lack of affordable houses for the poor and behalf of residents of the Federal Capital Territory. But time in, time out, you see this housing estate being springing up across the city, and yet sometimes you find nobody living in those houses. It's either they're too expensive or they were not built with standard. But now that a committee has been set up by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to ensure that every landlord maybe get it from the traditional rulers or from the government, you need to come and recertify some of these documents. Do you think perhaps the ministry has another intention of increasing its income by ensuring this? Could that be the motive of this committee?
It's a win-win situation because there's no way you're going to have those people, where you ask people to come regularize their properties, you will have to pay for that. And then you also, the tax system that we are all experiencing now, trying to make sure that those who have a particular properties pay for it. It's a win-win thing because one is good because the people, the resident will have their own apartment or accommodation to stay, and also the government will generate revenue. Come to think of it, just a little digression. We talked about people not having enough accommodation and what should we do? First and foremost, there are suburbs, there are certain villages or towns within the Federal Capital Territories that needs to be focused on, especially when you turn to look at the airport road, for instance. You see that there are a lot of houses here and there, but people no longer live in some of those areas because there are no social amenities. There are no proper lights, there are no good roads, and also there are no water. So if we want to decongest, for instance, the city where the prices of accommodation is so high, we have to also look back. And I pray that the Honorable Minister will look into that and make sure that we have accessibilities to different communities or different suburbs where people can live and come to work. That will also ease the problem of accommodation in the Federal Capital Territory.
The task force set by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to ensure sanity in housing. The house is led by Estate Surveyor Michael O. Chinda, the Senior Special Assistant on FCT Minister on Land, Urban and Regional Planning, and of course supported by the Executive Secretary of FCDA as Secretary, and has a period of 1 month. Other members of the task force include the Director of Land, Ages Development Control, Mass Housing, Urban and Regional Planning, Surveyor, as well as the Mapping Department. The task force aimed to address specific issues outlined by the FCT Minister. Is there a particular group you think is not part of this? Because when they talk about task force, it looks like some element of force, but we didn't hear those who are supposed to enforce some of this part of it, like the police and so on. You think they should have been part of this committee?
I agree with you, but when a particular theme is listed, that does not necessarily mean that is all. There are some silence members that will operate, because if you go, for instance, to do a particular thing in the Federal Capital Territory and you don't have the security personnel within or around you, it's very difficult. So I believe that there are certain individuals, but the list you've just mentioned now, that is promising. I feel as time goes on, you will see other members or other organizations that will be drawn into it.
The minister also said he is personally interested in what went wrong. That's to say, as they get it right, they should be able to package the information to brief them on the situation in the Federal Capital Territory. This body, there will not be lack of funds. Minister says he will make fund available. And when there is fund available, so perhaps every 2 weeks or 1 month, they can do this because funds will be made available. Because there was also a bank there that we don't want to mention their name here, but the minister actually mentioned a bank.
Well, I agree that fund will be made available, but fund itself is not the what will propel this to go first? Are the people responsible? You can get money across to people to get a particular job done, and if they are not out there doing the job, the money will just sit in the bank. So he has made it known that funds will be available. We hope that the people responsible to carry out this tax will also be available. There are so many factors that could cripple a particular step, but we believe that all hand on deck, this thing will go towards the right direction.
Yes, and WIKE did not tell us the template that he gave the committee, but the task force is also charged with the responsibility of imposing penalties. It looks like the minister seemed to have given them all the necessary power they need, because he said the task force has the right to impose penalties. I thought there should have been a template to say, a house with this size, this is the amount, house with this size, this is the amount. But now giving the task force the right, don't you think they will use it to settle scores from the enemies? Should they have been given the power to impose penalties?
Honestly speaking, I feel that I don't feel comfortable with that, because I feel it's something that could make someone who does not like your face or the shape of your nose and decides to say, well, we're going to give you this, and let those who have a better view, or if he just likes you, look and you said, okay, this is this. So I feel there should be uniformity. If you give the task force a general mandate to say do whatever you want, and there is no specific, then it is going to bring chaos somehow later on. I feel that has to be reviewed, but since they have not actually started, or they have just started barely 3 days, I feel that the Honorable Minister should be able to look into it and see how he could create an independent body who will x-ray whatever offense people have committed and be able to dish out appropriate punishment that the person or he or she deserves.
Now, let's look at some of these houses built by some of the developers. You have seen some of them. In terms of quality, do you think we should draw the minister's attention to look at some of the quality of the houses that have been springing up in the Federal Capital Territory? We have seen collapsed building in the Federal Capital Territory. Do you think the developers need to do more, or should we draw the attention of the minister?
I feel the minister has started well by setting up this committee. He is good. We pray that he goes further than that by making sure that whatever comes up at the end of the day, there are rules and regulations guiding those who are going into partnership with the government to develop apartments. Because the substandard of goods and also shady deals being done by those who are developers has killed a lot of people, and if it's not checked, will still destroy many.
If it's not checked, many will still go, and that is the reason why the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory inaugurated the project task force to ensure that housing, especially mass housing in the Federal Capital Territory, are done according to the master plan of the Federal Capital Territory. The committee was given a total of 1 month to ensure that the right thing is done, and they were given an open check because the minister said, tell me, and I will make the money available. This is the first project I've seen that the minister is giving an open check. But he said he must put approval before any money. It looks like he made this available to them and then still have some way of taking it back. He gave them an open check and he said he must be the account officer.
I believe there should be checks and balances here and there to be able to attain a height. If you come to think of it, Mr. Clinton, if you give out a check to someone and say spend it the way you want, trust me, people could use it to buy grass from India to come and plant in your backyard. So what I feel is that he's telling them, well, I've given you permission to do the right thing, but if you don't do it, I'm going to take it back. So if you do the right thing, or if you spend wisely, correctly, he's not going to bother. But if you bring something that is outrageous, that or is not necessary, he is definitely going to say, well, I told you that I'm still here to check. So, which is good. The checks and balance is proper for any development. So I believe that if he gets that done, and based on what he has said, the people will be serious, they will focus, and then they will deliver.
Okay, in a democratic setting like the one we are, what type of penalties should violators be expecting? What kind of penalties? Should it be the number one address, the kind of address the minister gave us on the first day of office, demolition? Or should it be a kind of social penalty?
Well, as a resident, I won't think the penalty should be ultimate penalty, which is that one, and then this demolition, because that is not in my place to call. But I feel as we rightly pointed out, that the minister must set up a committee to look into it. Or even if he's not setting up a proper committee, he should have some team members who will be able to look at the offense committed. Because one, if we tend to overlook certain things, a lot will still continue. And of what use are we setting this committee if we are not planning to make sure that it's a lasting solution, or there is a lasting solution? So in that case, I believe that the penalty should be something that is repelling, that people will not want to do it again, and also accommodating in its own way, that makes sure that we know that we are all humans.
Let's look at the FCT minister. On his first day of office, it mentioned demolition, and today it looks like there's some romance now between WIKE'S administration and residents of the Federal Capital Territory. And in that, there will be so much response from FCT residents towards the minister. Well, it looks like 5 and 6 now. Yeah,
the minister have started well, I guess so. Maybe he, I won't say he started on the wrong foot. I won't say that, because that is his office. He decides what he wants to do. But coming back is like having a rethink and saying, okay, or going into a new place, you will be able to x-ray the place and then come up with something. Maybe he must have looked back and said, maybe the first step I took or the pronouncement I made wasn't the right one. And he has calmed down and said, okay, let us do it this way. Let us work together. Because you need to work with the resident, because that is why you are the minister. You are their minister, not that you are there to actually bully them. You are there to make sure that they feel comfortable with that. They are also, they will find it, how do I put it now? They will be happy to come to you with issues that they are facing, or problems, or development project, or development strategies.
Joe Oko is a resident of the Federal Capital Territory, joining us on the program this beautiful afternoon, Midday Discourse on Global TV in Abuja. We took a look at the committee set by the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to reposition housing in Abuja. And we are glad to say the minister is in the right track and the right direction. And Global TV will do everything possible to support the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to achieve his aim and objective, making Abuja a city that citizens obey. And so we are calling on all residents of the Federal Capital Territory, developers, to ensure they key into the committee set by the Honorable Ministry, of the Honorable Minister, for us all to enjoy Abuja. We need to say a big thank you to the Minister of the FCT and the Abuja resident. That's the size of today's edition of the program, Midday Discourse, right here on Global TV. And I am Clinton Agbo saying, join us same time for another fresh edition of the program. Until then, be a law-abiding citizen, Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. We love you all.